Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. Today we have a battle against Ray. This is our third match, I believe, here on Scarlet and Violet. I know I've been actually kind of bad about giving you guys the right information about that lately, as last time I said it was the first time we played this guy, but it was actually the second time, and then recently I said it was the third time we played Chris, but it was actually the fourth time. So yeah, it's been messing up about that a little bit lately, but this guy is a very strong competitive battler off of Discord. He is the reigning champion of the BHDL Draft League, the Pokemon Scholar himself, soon to be potentially Pokemon Viola as well. That match, I believe, is yet to be played, but in any event, really tough competitor. So we'll take a look and see what he has today. Here looks to be a pretty strong, pretty interesting looking team there. So looking at my team, it is the same one that I have been using the past few games here. So what do I want to lead with in this one? I think we're actually going to go with the Cinderace in this one, and we have to figure out what we want to disguise our Zoroark as, because we don't want to forget to do that. I guess we'll go with the Duraludon again. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess we'll just do that. And yeah, we'll see how that works out. It's always a little bit of a challenge for me to decide what to disguise Hisuian Zoroark as. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. Alright, so there he is, and he is going to go ahead and lead with the Flygon as we lead with the Cinderace. So, in this situation, we should definitely be faster than this thing unless he is Scarf. So, I kind of want to just go ahead and go for a U-turn here, get some chip, and then see what he wants to do. So we're just going to U-turn here right out of the gate. He actually does outspeed us, goes right for the Earthquake and knocks us out in one shot, so that's pretty abysmal. So yeah, that's going to knock us down to 5, so it appears that he should in fact be Scarf. So knowing that information, we can pretty safely go into our Vigavolt here. So yeah, that's a really awful way to start the game for us, so we'll see what we can do about it. I think the best thing we can probably do about it here, we know he has to be Scarf. I think he has to be Scarf because even though we're not a speed nature on the Cinderace, I think Cinderace outspeeds Flygon by enough that that means this thing has to be Scarf. So we could relatively easy Volt Switch, but I think we're just going to Sticky Web here as he does indeed switch. So yeah, you definitely got to be Scarf on that thing. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and switch directly into the Porygon 2. So there's that thing. He's going to get the Trace to trace our Levitate, which is kind of fine. As we are just going to go for the Sticky Web, get the Entry Hazard set up on him, which is going to be beneficial, I think. This turn, I think we should just go for the Volt Switch. He could switch back into the Flygon. I kind of don't think he would do that, but then again, maybe he would. So maybe he would switch back into the Flygon here. I don't know. How do we want to play this? I think we have to take that chance that he will, so we'll just Volt Switch here that he won't. So he just goes for a Tri-Attack straight away. Chips us down by a little less than half. We're going to go for the Volt Switch in return. Does basically nothing to this thing, as Eviolite Porygon 2 is incredibly bulky, obviously, and so we do get the free switch, which is nice. It'd be really nice if we could come in with the Cinderace right now, but obviously we can't. How do we want to handle this? I think we go into the Quagsire. I think that's our play to handle this thing, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to come in with the Quagsire, and so I think we could probably just go for a Yawn here. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to Yawn and see what he wants to do, as he does go for a switch. And what is he going to want to come in with here? It is going to be the Uniclus. So that thing's coming in. It does get caught in the sticky web to decrease its speed, which is nice. And we are going to go for the Yawn, which means that this thing is going to fall asleep next turn unless he switches out. So the fact that he brought this thing in against the Quagsire leads me to believe he definitely is packing a grass move here, and we definitely don't want to get caught with that. So I think we just go ahead and... what do we switch into against this thing? He could definitely just switch right back out in this situation. So we're going to go ahead and switch into the Vikavolt here, get some leftovers recovery, hopefully, and we'll see what he wants to do, if he wants to stay in and let it go to sleep, or if he wants to switch it out here. So he actually does switch out, which is kind of as expected, and we'll see what he wants to come in with. It is going to be the... Necrozma. So that thing does not take a speed reduction on the sticky web, which means that he's got to be heavy-duty boots on that thing, interestingly enough. So now we have a little bit of a choice on our hands here as to how we want to deal with this thing. We know that it's heavy-duty boots. We could go for the Bug Buzz straight away to try and get some damage. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to straight up Bug Buzz. We'll make the obvious play, see what he wants to do. He is going to Terra, so that's unfortunate. He's going to go ahead and Terra the Necrozma. What does he Terra into? Fairies. That's not great. So he's got Terra, Fairy, Necrozma on deck. So what does he do with this thing? We should outspeed. No, he still outspeeds us, actually. Yeah, that's right, because he didn't get Sticky Web. So he gets the Stealth Rock up, which is a little unfortunate. As we go for a Bug Buzz here, that's going to do actually some pretty decent chip to this thing despite the resistance, and we do actually get the special defense drop too, which is really important actually. So that means that the next attack, if he stays in, is going to do a lot more damage. So we have a choice once again to make here. Do we want to... how do we want to play this? I kind of want to. I feel like he probably switches here, because after that special defense drop, he could go back into the Flygon here, predicting the Volt switch. I feel like now that play is actually more probable at this point. So I think I'm going to actually just take the middle ground and Energy Ball here. I think that's what we do. If he stays in, it might be enough after the special defense drop to take him out, but unfortunately he does go for the switch. Does he come in with the Flygon here? He comes in with the Porygon 2, so that thing's coming in. He is going to get the speed reduction on the Sticky Web this time, which is good, and he does get the Trace to copy our Levitate again, as we're going to go for the Energy Ball, pretty much revealing our whole set to him at this point. And that does some pretty decent chip on that thing with a critical hit, which is nice, and then we are going to get some HP back with the leftovers. So in this situation, I think we just Volt Switch. He probably, unfortunately, just goes for the Recover here, and there's not much we can do about that. But I think we just Volt Switch here. That's our play, as we do outspeed. We go for the Volt Switch. We get some more chip on this thing, which is nice, knocking him down to about a quarter HP, which is great. The only problem in this situation is that he is going to be able to switch. So what do we come in with? He's probably going to, if I had to guess, I would say he probably recovers here, which is really unfortunate. But there's not much we can do about that. So I feel like we're going to take a chance, and we're going to switch into the Hisuian Zoroark here, disguised as the Duraludon. We take the Stealth Rock damage here, as he does in fact recover, so that is unfortunate. That is as anticipated, so that is going to give him a whole ton of HP back, and that's not great. So I think the best thing we can do in this situation is he may... I'm not sure if he's going to expect this to be the Zoroark or not, obviously. We don't know if he'll anticipate that or not. I think what we do is we do try to get a Nasty Plot up here. I think that's our play. So yeah, we're going to try to get a Nasty Plot here. He does stay in, so he probably did predict this to be the Zoroark, unfortunately. We do get the Nasty Plot for a sharp special attack increase. He goes for the Ice Beam, which is going to do quite a lot of damage, knocking us down to about a third HP, revealing the Hisuian Zoroark, of course. And so now I think he probably stays in and tries to take us out, so we're going to go ahead and bust our Terra out and try to take this thing out. We're going to find out how bulky this Porygon 2 really is, because we're going to go ahead and terrestrialize our Hisuian Zoroark into a fighting type, which is of course going to allow us to go for a huge +2 Terra Blast fighting and see if it's enough to take this thing out. So we know we're going to outspeed. Here we go with the Terra Blast. Is it going to be enough to take the Porygon 2 out is the question at +2. No, it's not enough to take this thing out. This thing must be maximally specially defensive invested, and that great. So that is really unfortunate. So we lose Zoroark there, and we go down to 4. So we lose Zoroark, we lose the Terra, and we go down to 4. So that really sucks. Porygon is just too bulky, I guess. There's just nothing we can do. It's just too bulky. Porygon 2 is just too bulky, I guess. So yeah, knowing that, I guess what we do here, what do we do here? I suppose we go ahead and come in with our real Duraludon, I suppose. That's going to be the play. So we'll come in with the real Duraludon, and we'll take some Stealth Rock damage. So, how do we want to handle this? He does have a number of switches out to the Duraludon at this point. He could stay in and try to recover, predicting us to do something else. I think we're just going to go ahead and go for the Flash Cannon here, as he does stay in, so we just go for the Flash Cannon, take the Porygon 2 out, and knock him down to 5. So we finally get rid of the Porygon 2, but obviously it did not pay off for us, as that thing just did way too much work to us. So now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Tentacruel, so that thing's coming in. And I'm not 100% sure what this thing wants to do to us, quite honestly, so I say we actually just go ahead and try to Thunderbolt it, so that's what we're going to do. He's going to go for a knockoff, which is going to do no damage, but it is going to get rid of our Eviolite, which is problematic. But we do get a Thunderbolt on this thing at max special attack. Does 50% damage to this thing, which is nice, and then he gets some HP back with the Black Sludge. So it doesn't look like he can take another Thunderbolt from that range, which means he very well could be trying to switch it out to save this thing. So I think what I'm going to do this turn is actually go for the Draco Meteor instead to see if we can catch the Flygon coming in. So we're going to Draco this turn. He actually does stay in and goes for a Toxic Spikes, which is unfortunate. So he's going to go ahead and get those up on us as we go for the Draco Meteor, and that is enough to go ahead and finish the Tentacruel off, knocking him down to 4, which is something. But unfortunately, he did get the Toxic Spikes up on us in return, so obviously that's not great, as now he is going to go ahead and come back in with the Reuniclus. So that thing is going to get the speed reduction on the Sticky Web. Now, this thing could easily go for a Focus Blast here. I'm kind of anticipating him to have that since he just brought this thing in the way he brought this thing in. So what we're going to do is, I think we go Vikavolt here. I think that's our best play, so we're going to switch to the Vikavolt. Obviously, with our special attack lowered, there's not a ton we can do to this thing. So we're going to go ahead and bring the Vikavolt in here and see what he wants to do. So there it is. We do take the Stealth Rock damage, unfortunately, as he goes for a Trick Room. So that sucks. So he gets the Trick Room off, which means that all the slower Pokemon are going to be faster and vice versa for the next several turns. So that's obviously problematic because the Sticky Web being up means that all of his Pokemon are pretty much guaranteed to be slower than all of ours, meaning that all of his Pokemon are definitely going to outspeed us for the next several turns. So obviously that's bad news. I think the only thing we can do here is just go for a Bug Buzz and hope to tank an attack from this thing. So I guess we could try to switch, but this thing, we really don't have a good switch to this thing, so I guess we just Bug Buzz. That's really our only play. He outspeeds. Can we take a Psychic from this thing at our current HP? No, unfortunately we can't. So we're going down there with Vikavolt, and we're going down to 3, so that's definitely bad news. Now, he had Trick Room and he has Psychic, we know that. So the only question here is, is he going to have either Focus Blast or Energy Ball coverage on this thing? Because he probably doesn't have both. So we're going to have to try to predict this one. Is he going to have the Energy Ball or is he going to have Focus Blast? I mean, we could split the difference and go into Rillaboom. That's possible, but I kind of don't want to bring this thing in on a special attacker. I guess we'll go for we'll go for the Duraludon. I guess that's our best play here. So we come in with that, and we take the Stealth Rock damage. So he doesn't know our last attack, technically, although he probably knows that we can't really do much to this thing. So how do we want to play this here? How do we want to play this? How do we want to play this? I did kind of want to get the Stealth Rock up, but at the same time, I don't really think it's worth it anymore at this point. So let's just try to get damage on this thing, I guess. We're going to try to fire off a Flash Cannon, I guess, and see how much damage we can get. He does have Shadow Ball as his coverage, so he's going for that. We don't have the Eviolite anymore, and it takes us down to 24 HP. He gets the Special Defense drop, too, which sucks. We go for the Flash Cannon in return. Does some good damage to this thing, although not enough, as it leaves it at a little above half. So, unfortunately, there's not much we can do right now. I think all we can do is just click Draco, but we know we're going to go down here. So that's what we're going to do as the next Psychic. He goes for the Psychic just in case we decide to try to switch, but there's no point. As the Duraludon, he gets a crit there. That definitely didn't matter after the Special Defense drop. So the Duraludon goes down. We go down to 2, which is not great, obviously. So definitely running out of options here against this thing. We know almost his full set. We don't know if he's packing the grass coverage or not. Do we want to risk that he has the grass coverage is the real question. So, do we want to risk... Oh, man. This is unfortunate. Do we want to risk... I kind of don't want to risk that he could have grass coverage on deck for this thing. But at the same time, I feel like the only way we win this right now is with the Rillaboom, and I think it's not time to bring that in yet. It sucks. I think we have to... I feel like he probably has the grass coverage, so I feel like we gotta go Rillaboom now. I think that's... this is a really tough choice, though. Yeah, I feel like we go Rillaboom, because I feel like he does have the grass coverage. So we go Rillaboom here. We do take the Stealth Rock damage as well. We get poisoned off the Toxic Spike, so we're going to be on a timer here. We're going to go ahead and activate the Grassy Surge, of course, to set the grassy terrain on the battlefield. That is also going to go ahead and trip our Grassy Seed, which is going to go ahead and give us a nice defense increase. So I think all we can really do here, we can go for the Grassy Glide. It's not going to be enough to take this thing out for sure. How many more turns of Trick Room does he have? It looks like this should be the last turn of Trick Room here, which is good. We could make a really risky play and try to Swords Dance here. That would be an incredibly risky prospect that I don't really know I want to do, because he probably does just attack us at this point. So we're just going to Grassy Glide and see how much damage we can get. He actually does switch, so we could have got a Swords Dance, but it kind of is what it is. We switch. He goes ahead and switches into the Incineroar, so that thing's coming in. He does get the speed reduction on the Sticky Web, which means we're going to outspeed him going forward, which is nice. He gets the Intimidate to cut our attack as we go for the Grassy Glide here. Not going to do basically any damage to this thing. And then he is going to get some HP back from the grassy terrain and the leftovers, and we're also going to get some HP back with the grassy terrain and then take some poison damage. So as well, the Trick Room is over. So I think the only way that we win this at this point is we have to make a really risky prediction here. I think there's a chance he might over-predict here, expecting the Quagsire to come in and go for not a fire move. I think that's our only chance. So I think our only chance is to go ahead and Swords Dance and hope that he over-predicts. So we're going to do that. We're going to Swords Dance. So we outspeed, obviously. There's the Swords Dance. We're going to go ahead and get +2 attacks. So thanks to the Intimidate, we're at +1 attack. He goes for the Overheat. So he's a special attacking Incineroar, which has definitely caught me off guard. And he overheats, takes us out, knocks us down to 1. So that sucks. So he gets more HP back with the grassy terrain. And we're in a really awful position, unfortunately. So I'm going to go ahead and come in with the Quagsire as our last Pokemon here. We get the Stealth Rock and the Toxic Spikes, obviously. And at this point, there's not a whole lot that we can do. We're just going to go ahead and click Liquidation here. As he stays in, we go Liquidation. Takes him down by a lot, actually, and we do get a defense drop, which is doesn't really matter. He goes for the knockoff, which does quite a bit of chip, actually, and gets rid of our leftovers. But yeah, we're definitely not in a great spot, as we both get HP back with the leftovers, or he gets HP back with leftovers in the grassy terrain. We also get that HP back and then take some damage from the poison. So we might as well just Liquidation again. There's no reason not to. He could switch to save this, but honestly it doesn't really matter at this point, because we're pretty much screwed as he just stays in. We go for the Liquidation to at least get the KO on the Incineroar. We get a crit this turn, which obviously didn't matter after the defense drop plus the damage we saw on the first one. So we get rid of the Incineroar, knocking him down to 3, which is something. Get some HP from the grassy terrain and then take some poison damage as well. So he is now going to go ahead and come in with the Necrozma. And yeah, this thing will definitely outspeed us, obviously. There's really nothing we can do. We're just going to go for Liquidation here. He outspeeds us, goes for that Photon Geyser, and from that range, that will definitely take the Quagsire out. And that is game. So we are going to lose that one 3-0 to Ray, but that was a pretty good match, actually. Hard-fought competitive game there. Unfortunately, some unorthodox sets on his side definitely surprised me, but also I think the turn 1 surprise was actually just really brutal for us. That definitely set us off on a really bad path for the rest of the game, unfortunately. But still a good match nonetheless, I'd like to think, as we always have a difficult time with this guy. But good match nonetheless. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.